Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Retro review. Dallas. Let's get into it.
Ain't it obvious? I just got the check for the positive. 750 for the sound wave to get it processed. Won't stop till that shit weighing down my pockets. My main thing, still my main thing. She a blossom. When she ease the pain with the brain, she a doctor. She open up anything thicker than the plot gets. Swear that shit is awesome. Sight for the optics. Young nigga on top. Nike's all I'm rocking, so that all they see is checks from where the head to where the socks fit. No logo on the bifocal, flicking no roach tips. Won't even show my face until all the shows book. Need the cash in advance, leave them all social.
Hey everybody, this is your girl Abby with Abby Reviews, and this is going to be my retro review of Dallas Season 1, Episode something. 6. Episode 6. That's what we got going on. So, we start at the ranch with the family outside at the pool. Everybody's recovering from the miscarriage and stuff, so everybody's on their best behavior, I guess. Jacques is being overly protective of Pam. Lucy is being a jackass as usual. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with that little girl. They do mention the missing brother Gary, and everybody get real quiet. Lucy remarks on it, and Sue Ellen, there is a cattle auction or something that's happening, and Jock is going to go because he's really gotten into the ranching portion of having South Fork and not just the oil. And so Sue Ellen trying to make inroads with Jock on JR's behalf. She talks him into taking JR with him to the auction. So JR asked why she did that, and she was like, because I'm trying to help your dumb ass, but you don't seem to be appreciative of what the fuck I'm trying to do for you. To help him curry favor with his daddy. Damn, I didn't know I took this many notes. All right. So they go to the cattle auction, Jacques, JR, and Lucy. And so Lucy says, well, I'll be back. I'll meet y'all at such and such. I'm going to go look at something. And they're like, all right. Meanwhile, Bobby has to take a trip to Las Vegas for this convention, for this oilman's convention. And so Pam was really in her feelings about it at first, and he was like, but no, you're coming with me. And then she got happy about it. So when Lucy said that she was going to go off on her own, Jock sent Ray with her to look after her. And she was like, I really don't need you to look after me or do anything. I got this. I'm grown. You know, be about your own business, sir. And then a car pulls up with Pam's little cousin Jimmy in it. And he was like, this is why you didn't want me to see what you had going on. And she was like, it's not what you think it is. And then she jumps in the car and drives off after telling him, keep your mouth shut, or I'm going to tell my granddaddy that we was fucking. And she's right. It's not that she's running off to do with Lil Jimmy. Lil Jimmy's taking her to this diner, and that's where her mother works. And so he's been taking her to see her mama. So Bobby had like this little meet and greet in his hotel suite, because they're in a big suite, like upstairs and downstairs. It was like really extravagant. And so this guy from the hotel staff comes, and you know, he's like, I've come to clean up the stuff for the party and bust the tables down and all that good stuff. And he was like, well, can you save that for later? We're getting ready to go to the pool. And the man, he's like, no, I really need to do my job, blah, 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 blah. And he's pretty much ignoring him until Bobby turns him around and get a good look at his face. And lo and behold, it is his brother, Gary. Now, do I think Gary actually worked for the hotel and was just happened to be the busboy? No. I think this was planned. I think this was planned because he know Bobby is the soft one. And he could weave his way back into the family through Bobby. So, Bobby immediately wants to call his mother and tear. Okay, so hold on, Gary. Okay, so let me start here. Lucy is talking to her mama about falling in love with her daddy. Gary tells Bobby and Pam about where he's been. Gary and JR are still on the outs. Bobby, who is ever the optimist, is talking about JR not being that bad. Okay. Some serial killers are not that big either, I guess. So Lucy wants to live with her mama. And Bobby immediately wants to call his mama to tell her that Gary is coming home now that he's found her. And Gary said, wait a minute. You giving me too much. I'm just saying I was happy to see you. Calm down, sis. So excuse me, y'all. They set up dinner plans with Gary. He says he doesn't hate JR and his daddy, but he can live without seeing them ever again. He does miss his mama, but he would come back to see Lucy. He would go back to the ranch just to see Lucy. Now Miss Ellie is so excited that they're coming home. Lucy goes to see Ray and tries to seduce him. When Bobby, Pam, and Gary arrive at the ranch, of course, Miss Ellie is beside herself and crying and stuff. She's so happy to see him. And then Lucy and Ray trying to figure out who is this that showed up. And then she shows up. She realizes it's her daddy. And she was like, oh, Daddy, it's nice to meet you. It's really awkward because I don't think he's been there the entirety of the time as she's been alive. So 6, that's a long time. So, they're having before dinner drinks, and Jock is giving this speech and about to be a complete asshole. Before Miss Ellie gets him right together. Gary is up. Dinner goes well. Gary is up late in the kitchen drinking milk, and Bobby comes in, and Miss Ellie comes in and have a conversation with Gary. He said he glad he came back for a visit. Miss Ellie said, nope, you're home for good. Lucy comes to the stable to get her daddy and bring him straight to the diner where her mama works. Pam then gets a call about her dad who's in the hospital because of his drinking. And Bobby and Pam both, and Jock was like, see, same old. And it was like, well, this is kind of your fault, because if you hadn't acted the ass the way you did last week, none of this, he wouldn't have gone off the rails and none of this would have happened. Bobby wants to go with her, but Pam declined. She said, you stay here with your family. Lucy's mama, now that Gary is here and they've made themselves known, she is beside herself. She's dropping things. She's scattered and everything. So, it turns out Lucy mama has been watching her, kind of stalking her. Before Lucy started coming to the diner, she was watching her at school while she was going to and from school. Lucy wants her mama to come back to the ranch. Her mama's name is Val. They talk, and she tells her at the ranch, Lucy, she just wants her family together. Bobby comes in and tells his dad about Pam's dad, and that's when they get into the arguments about his going back to drinking being his daddy's fault. Bobby and his dad kind of get into almost a physical altercation, and JR tries to milk it. He was like, no, Bobby's right. He has the right. He's supposed to defend his wife's family. That's what he's supposed to do. Miss Ellie says they're bringing Lucy's mama. JR immediately is like, she's a tramp, and I told her don't show her ass around here no more, and blah, 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 blah. And he was like, okay, well, that's not gonna work. Well, he's coming back into the fold, which means she's coming back into the fold, which means get your life together, sir. So we then see JR in his office talking to an accountant about a company he liquidated, and he wants to reactivate it because he's trying to keep the brothers out of his way so that he can continue to run the company and do whatever he wants to do. So he's getting this liquidated company back together so he can give it to Gary to run, just to keep him busy and out of his face. And that's how the episode ended. JR is a complete jackass. Can we say that? And I hope that Lucy becomes less of an ass now that her parents are together, but I doubt it. Like, I feel, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I'll have to watch the next episode. But this was my retro review of Dallas Season 1, Episode 6. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And I will catch you in the next one. Peace.